Welcome back to Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. We have Ashcan Pete and Mandy Thompson escaping from the dungeon cell in the last episode, running into a dark druid, trying to stop the cult of Sentinel Hill. I forgot to mention I do have all the expansions, so everything is in this playthrough as of June 2017. Of course, there'll be many more expansions past that time, but this one does include everything, just so you know, because, of course, I think Ashcan Pete comes from the original Mansions of Madness game, so everything's in here. I didn't mention it. Also, when monsters are revealed, we really should look at the bottom of the plaque here, because some of them have some special abilities and things. This dark Druid does not. It just says, clad in dark robes, these pagan priests are mortal men driven to unnatural practices. Boy, that's small writing. I could barely see that. All right, continuing on, we are in the investigator phase, and I think the first thing we want to have Mandy, or do we want Mandy to go first? I actually think we're going to have Ashcan Pete go first. And the first thing he's going to do is he's going to move in here one space with the Dark Druid. And he is going to attack the Dark Druid, and he's going to use the knife. And so, for his first action, he's moving. He does have one more space he can move, though. If he continues on, for his second action, he will attack the Dark Druid. So we're going to bring up the Dark Druid. And we are going to attack him. And so I'm using the app to do this functionality here. And we are attacking him with a bladed weapon, which is the knife. It says you lunge toward your foe with a brutal stab. So strength, and we're looking for 2 successes. All right. And we have the best strength for Ashcan Pete. And we can look at his card here. He has a strength of 4, so he's going to be rolling 4 dice. And we're going to see what we get for successes. So maybe I'll just move that a little bit to the side. We'll roll our dice over here, and we're looking for at least 2 successes. And we get 0. Oh, wow. And he has no clue tokens either, so there's absolutely nothing Pete can do. So that was a complete and utter failure. And it says... where's the if you fail, your energy drives its hands down into your wrists, throwing your stab off its mark. So Ashcan tries to stab the Dark Druid and fails to do so. And that's basically his actions. Now, if he wanted to evade, he could try to move away, to continue moving, but he's going to stay there. So he moved, he attacked. Basically, Ashcan Pete's turn is over. It is up next for Mandy to do something. Mandy, not fooling around. Mandy's going to get out her .45 automatic, and she's going to take a shot at the Dark Druid. So once again, Mandy now will do an attack, and she's attacking with a firearm. It says you bring your weapon to bear and fire off a pair of shots in quick succession. This time we're testing agility. And Mandy has 6 clue tokens. Her agility is 3, so we're going to be rolling 3 dice. And we're going to see how well Mandy does with her .45 automatic. Come on, let's see what she gets. Wow, she gets 2 successes. And she can even spend it for 3. All she needed was 2 successes on that attack. If you pass, your foe jerks at each impact. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage. If you fail, 1 shot only grazes. Okay, it doesn't matter. So he's going to take 4 damage for the automatic. Now, he has 5 hit points, so that didn't kill him, but man, did that smack him down big time. That was Mandy's first action. She's going to take out her gun, and she's going to attack him again. She might as well keep firing. So she's going to attack him for her second action. She's attacking again with a firearm. This time it says you brace yourself in a proper shooter stance, aim and fire. Once again, she's looking for agility. So she's going to roll 3 dice again for agility with the .45 automatic. Come on, let's have, oh, darn it. She only gets 1 success. If you fail, you take too long aiming and your foe jumps aside. Well, that's too bad. He only has 1 hit point left. That is Mandy out of actions. And so we are going to be going into the Mythos phase. And so we'll just set up the board here, and we're going to do that. Well, somewhat successful, somewhat unsuccessful. The Dark Druid is bleeding from gunshot wound, but unfortunately he is still kicking. And so that's not really too good for us. So we're going to end our investigator phase. We're finished. On to the Mythos phase, and what horrible things will befall us. It says, without watching where you're going, you stumble upon a sheer cliff. Okay. This Mythos event affects the investigator in an outdoor space with the lowest observation. Well, they are not in an outdoor space, so we have no effect. They're in the cave, so that's pretty cool. Now it says the Dark Druid moves up to 2 spaces to be within range of as many investigators as possible. Well, he doesn't have to move anywhere. They're both there with him. Then it attacks each investigator within range. So it's going to be making, I think, two separate attacks. So we're going to attack, I guess, Mandy first. Or does it attack them both at the same time? The Druid curls inward and writhes with abject agony, producing from a tattered robe a horde of small rodents that scurry toward you. And it's agility, so he's doing this to Mandy. Once again, agility for Mandy. So she's got 3 dice, lots of clue tokens. I think they both have to take the same attack, because he's attacking both of them. So that's how I'm going to rule it here. I think they're going to both have to take this rodent attack. All right, Mandy first, 3 dice for agility. Oh man, I probably should just give myself a little more space to roll. And Mandy gets 2 successes. She dodges out of the way of the rodents. And now Ashcan has even better agility. He has an agility of 4. Unfortunately, Ashcan has no... Oh, and Mandy gets to roll 1 additional die when monsters are attacking you. I forgot that. But she did get enough successes. She should have been rolling 4 dice, not 3. Just to keep that in mind. And let's see here. Ashcan has 4 agility. He doesn't have any other extra abilities to roll. So he's going to be rolling 4 dice, and he's looking for 2 successes. Yee, let's see what he gets. And he gets 2 successes. He has no clue tokens. But that's fine. They both pass. So it says, if you pass, the vicious creatures are easily sidestepped. So there we go. The Druid's attack on us didn't do much, but we do have to now resolve horror checks, which are always fun. Each investigator must resolve a horror check against a monster within range, the highest horror rating. Well, we already know who that is. That is the cultist. Blood bubbles out of the Druid's mouth. Well, I should hope so after Mandy shot him with a 45. Either from an old wound or perhaps a recent meal. The savage grin makes your veins run cold with fear. It just says flip to horror, face up. Neither Mandy nor Ashcan Pete have any horror, so that is just not going to happen. Excellent. All right, that is going to conclude the Mythos phase, and we're into a new investigator phase. And so let me do a little bit of thinking here. I don't have to think too much. And we'll come right back with 1 more turn each. Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious. I think we're going to want Ashcan to go first. He is once again going to wield the knife, and he is going to attack the cultist. Now remember, there is a torch in this room, so I've been using clue tokens, or I could use clue tokens because there's a light source here, just to keep that in mind as well. All right, Ashcan is going to attack that, I said cultist, that Dark Druid with his bladed weapon. So for his first action, you advance slowly on your foe, taking careful note of its footing. Observation, you want 2 successes. All right, observation for Ashcan. Well, he has 4 dice for observation, but we're looking for 2 successes. So, all right, let's see what we can do. We have 4 dice. We want 2 successes. He gets 3 successes. No problem. Ash can succeed. If you pass, you act as soon as you see the enemy's feet shift. Your foe lunges forward to intercept you, but you dodge deftly aside, cutting a bloody gash along its arm. and back. The monster suffers damage equal to the weapon's damage plus your test result. Ouch! So he does 4 damage to the Dark Druid. Guess what, buddy? 4 plus 4 is 8. You only have 5 hit points. You are a mess of gore on the floor. And that is going to be first action for Ashcan. The second action for Ashcan, I think he is going to pick up the torch as an action. So now he has a light source, and it's also a melee, a heavy weapon that he can use for melee. All right, that was pretty good stuff. So Ashcan has basically used his 2 actions. Oh, and there's more text on the screen that popped up as well while I was doing that. As the robe figure falls with a scream, the silver on his hand seems to writhe and explode in a spray of bright red. Something shiny clinks to the floor next to the cult member, who dissolves into a foul puddle of tarry black. Place the silver key unique item in the Dark Druid's space. Wow, okay. So we get a unique item, the silver key. And I gotta find the silver key, and there's the silver key. All right. So as Ashcan shreds this guy and he dissolves, the silver key is dropped to the floor. Now Ashcan used his second action to pick up the torch, which I think was a good idea. It is now Mandy's turn, and Mandy, of course, is going to, for her first action, she will retrieve the key from the gore on the floor. So Mandy now has that silver key. That's her first action. And with her second action, she is going to perform a push action. Now how this works is she's going to push Ashcan farther along the tunnel. So she pushes Ashcan in here, and then she can also move into the space that she pushed Ashcan into. That's going to be Mandy's second action. All right, so far, so good. We've taken out the Dark Druid. Watley here is hanging around the torture chamber. He's not following us for whatever reason, but hey, that's what he's doing. So we will just deal with that when the time arises, or when the app tells us to. And that's going to be the end of our investigator phase, and we're into the Mythos phase. All right, the Mythos phase tells us the walls of the room seem to close in. This Mythos event affects the investigator within range of the fewest spaces. Okay, what does that? The walls of the room seem to close in. The Mythos event affects the investigator within range of the fewest spaces. Well, they're both in the same space, so we need to pick one. I guess before I hit continue, because I won't know what the test is, let's say Mandy is going to deal with this because she's got the most sanity. So we're going to continue. You are forced to crouch and shuffle. Suffer 1 horror. Willpower negates. You are forced to crouch and shuffle. Suffer 1 horror. Okay, willpower negates, then become stunned. So I don't think you have much choice. You're going to become stunned. You can negate the horror. Now her willpower is 3, and Ashcan's carrying a torch. So once again, I'll move that over a little bit. Mandy's going to roll 3 dice. She only needs 1 success, and she gets 1 success, so that is not a problem. However, the app just says, then become stunned, and that is, I guess, what she has to become. So I'm going to have to find the stunned condition. All right, I have found the stunned condition. So let's take a look at it, because this is going to affect Mandy. It says, you cannot perform more than a single action during your turn. At the end of your turn, discard this card. So this kind of nerfs Mandy for her next turn. She's only going to be able to perform 1 action. All right, well, that was not the greatest. Up next, okay, what did we do here? End the investigative phase. Yes, that was the Mythos phase. Oh, no, we didn't. That was the Mythos phase. So she's been affected. So now it's the investigator's turn. And I think, yeah, let's go ahead and we're going to do 1 more turn each. Mandy only has 1 action this time. and because she's stunned, so she is going to, I think, investigate what's going on here. The dark streaks on the floor seem to be a pattern of burns. So a pattern of burns. She's going to investigate them. This is her one action. The sharp smell of saltpeter lingers around the burns on the tunnel floor. Beneath the burns, you unearth a strange idol made of black stones smoothed into bulbous orbs. Something about the strange idol sharpens your mind, even as it crumbles into dust. Become focused. Then discard this search token. Excellent. Okay. Well, Mandy really didn't need to become focused. She's got so many tokens, but she will become focused. And now, because that's the end of her turn, she will lose the stunned condition. So she's no longer stunned, but now she has become focused. Cool. All right. Not stunned, focused. All right. That's pretty good stuff for Mandy. All right. And that was her one action. So now she's focused. And focus says you may discard this card to convert all spyglasses to successes while resolving a test. Well, not really needed for her, but let's keep it in mind. She's got 6 clue tokens. Wow. That was Mandy's turn. Up next is Ashcan Pete. Ashcan Pete, of course, is going to try and see what's going on with this door. The door has a glowing silver glyph on it depicting a key. You can explore only if you have the silver key unique item. Well, he doesn't. Mandy has it. And so I'm not quite sure if it means either of them have the key or whether Ashcan has to do a trade action. I think he has to do a trade action with Mandy. So Mandy's all focused, and he says to Mandy, give me that silver key, and I'm going to open the door. So for a trade action, he's going to take the silver key from Mandy, and I think he's going to hand Mandy the torch. Then he's already got a knife. Well, no, he's going to keep the torch. Never mind. He's just going to retrieve the silver key from Mandy. He is now going to use the silver key to explore. So this is going to be his second action. Oh my lord. Okay, there is a huge bit of map I need to set up. So let me get that set up and we'll come right back. I'm going to have to zoom out a lot. All right, we're all set up. And it says, the cool night air is welcome after the dank underground. You recognize your surroundings and gather that you have been imprisoned in the hills outside Dunwich. So we discarded this token and we've added on these tiles. So we've got the cave entrance. Here we have the barn, and we have a scarecrow out here in the fields. I'm going to hit continue on the app and see what it has to say. Across from the tunnel mouth, an impressive silver maple has had something carved into its trunk. Place a search token as indicated. All right, so this maple tree, it looks like a birch, but anyway, a maple tree here has something carved into its trunk. Continuing on. In the far field, something has knocked over a scarecrow, and a flock of small brown birds are circling overhead. Place a search token as indicated. All right, another search token here on the knocked over scarecrow. Continuing on, we have, oh great, with a harsh braying, a fusion of animal and man prowls around the corner of the barn. Spawn a goat spawn as indicated. So we have a goat spawn out here. Give me 1 second to find that miniature and we'll get it on the board. All right, so I found the goat spawn. Lovely little creature. And it has some text at the back of it. If we can read that, it says this creature is an unholy fusion of human and monster with horns and other bestial features. It possesses an animal's strength as well. So that's out here just in front of the barn. And continuing on with the app, a large barn stands ramshackle in the starlight. Place explore tokens as indicated. All right, so there's basically 2 doors to the barn. One is here and one is the backside of the barn. Continuing on, the stars above fail to illuminate more than your immediate surroundings. Place sight tokens as indicated. Okay, there's more than meets the eye out here. Outside, we have a sight token here, which means beyond this space will be more and another sight token here. So we're going to have more area here and more here to explore later on. And continuing on, You may move one space into the explored area. Well, I don't know if I really want to deal with that goat spawn at the moment, because basically we're at Ashcan's second action was to open that door. Now he can move out if he wants to. I think we're going to leave the two together still in the dungeon cave here, and I think that's where we're going to leave it off. And so what's going to happen next? And Zebulon pushes out of the dungeon behind you, breathing deeply in the cool night. Move Zebulon Watley as indicated. So he actually goes right out of the cave into the line of danger. Well, good for you. You go ahead and go out there, because I'm not following you. And continuing on. Good job getting us out of there. We ought to move fast to find the rest of the experiment and destroy it before old Watley really realizes we escaped. Well, we're hanging back for the moment, but Watley has decided to go out there. And that's going to conclude our investigator phase. I'm almost afraid of what's going to happen during the Mythos phase, but that's coming up right now. So we're going to see what happens with the Mythos phase. Turning! Mandy Thompson comes face to face with the unexpected shape of a monster. But it is, in fact, nothing more than a shadow cast by mundane objects. Mandy Thompson suffers one face-down horror. Well, there's no way to negate this one, so she's going to suffer one face-down horror. We don't know what it is, but we're going to put that with Mandy. So now she has a sanity of 8. That's only 1 damage, so not a big deal. That was the Mythos phase. Now, I think that monster is going to work, though. Yep. And here we go. The goat spawn moves 2 spaces toward the nearest investigator. Then it attacks the investigator in its space or an adjacent space with the lowest influence. Well, the lowest influence is Ashcan Pete. So the goat spawn is going to move 1 space to here, and it's going to come right into the cave entrance and attack Ashcan Pete. And it has 5 hit points, just so you know. All right. All right. So Ghost Spawn moves 2. It did. So it will attack Ashcan Pete. The monster attacks. The creature sniffs and grunts at something in the ground. Suddenly, where you were standing is unstable, with the bodies of frenzied rodents tossing you down and biting every inch of your skin. Suffer 2 face-down damage and 2 horror. Yee! That's a really bad attack. Agility +1 negates. Well, luckily for Ashcan, he has an agility of 4, so he will be rolling 4 + 1. He'll be rolling 5 dice to try to negate a total of 2 face-down damage and 2 horror. I believe the damage is face-down, the horror is not. So let's roll his dice and see what he can get. Come on, successes. Wow, and he has no clue tokens. This is gonna hurt. He only gets 1 success, so he either has to suffer 1 face-down damage and 2 horror face-up, or 1 horror face-up and 2 face-down damage. I think he's going to take the 2 face-down damage because we may be able to get rid of them later. So Ashcan's got 2 face-down damage, and he has to take 1 horror face-up because it doesn't say face-down on the app. So the horror he takes from all these biting rodents is a minor shock. Your heart races and your breath catches in your throat. Resolve immediately. No additional effects. Flip this card face down. Alright, so Ashcan now has 1 sanity damage and 2 physical damage. And he has 7 health and 7 sanity. And that is going to conclude... okay, and each investigator now must resolve a horror check. I'm ready to conclude the episode, but we've got to do a horror check yet. And they're both going to take the same horror check. And so let's go ahead and resolve a horror check. Confirm. The creature barks a harsh, braying laughter that fills the air with malice and cruelty. You find yourself eager to laugh along, though your conscious mind cannot find the humor here. Flip 3 horror face up. Well, that's not as bad as you would think. Mandy only has 1 horror, but she has to flip it face up. And it is panic. Resolve immediately. Suffer 1 additional face down damage. Then flip flip this card face down. Wow. So in her panic, Mandy's going to take a face down damage. Ooh, so yeah, we're starting to get beat up here. This is not good. Now, of course, Ashcan only has the one horror. We know what it is. It's a minor shock, no additional effect. Flip this card face down. So nothing extra happened to him. That will conclude this episode for today. And so then next, that's the end of the Mythos phase. We'll be going back to the Investigator phase when we return in the next episode. So thanks so much for watching along. This is Mansions of Madness. Second edition, we're playing Cult of Sentinel Hill. We have to stop the horrors that are about to be unleashed in the world here, and we're probably going to have to go into the barn and check out the Scarecrow, and I don't know. I've not played this scenario yet. So this is kind of exciting for me because I don't know what's happening. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments and your likes and your subscriptions. I really do appreciate it. So join me next time for the continuation of Cult of Sentinel Hill. We have Mandy Thompson and Ashcan Pete trying to figure out what's going on and put an end to it with, of course, Watley's help. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.